I remember an occasion a couple of years ago where I was discussing abortion with a person. Now, the fact that I was discussing abortion is not relevant here. What is relevant is what happened during the discussion. And I am going to talk about abortion, obviously, by way of clarifying what I'm talking about, but I'm not interested in comments about abortion and what you think about it. I'm interested in what happened during the debate and what I'm going to explain about that now. So any comments relating the rights or wrongs of abortion are going to be deleted. So, I was debating abortion with this person, and during the debate the argument came up that human beings should be protected in law against being killed, basically, so there should be laws against murder, for example. And of course, this person then said that protection should extend to human life, upon which, of course, he got slammed down, because human life is a term that is pretty meaningless. Human life? What is human life? My hands are human life because they're part of a human being. So the discussion deteriorated into a definition nitpick fest about what human beings were. What is a human being? And of course, this person's problem was that there was no definition for a human being that would cover his precious idea that a fertilized egg is a human being, and therefore any idea of what a human being was would necessarily involve accepting that a fertilized egg isn't a human being, and then that would lead to the voidance of his argument against abortion, because if a fertilized egg is not a human being, why should it be protected? And then he came up with this human life idea. But like I said, that's irrelevant. The whole hullabaloo started when he insisted on a definition for a human being. And that achieved nothing other than to completely stifle the discussion. Because, of course, no matter how hard you try to define what a human being is, somebody can always find some example of where somebody does not conform to your definition, and yet it is intuitively clear to anybody that we are talking about a human being here. What he failed to see was that attitude of insisting on that bloody definition was not helpful. What would have been helpful would be if he were to accept that we all have a pretty decent understanding of what a human being is. You're looking at one now. When we bump into a human being in the street, we'll recognize them for what they are. There's not going to be a confusion there, generally. And then we accept that even though there is a sort of definition that will give you this solid core of understanding of what a human being is, there is also that fuzzy edge around that definition that means that you can never, with absolute certainty of any object, for want of a better word, make a definitive decision, yes, this is a human being, or no, this is not a human being. Now, if you take that realization, you can move forward, because then you can say, okay, a fertilized egg is not a human being, a newborn baby is a human being, and we accept that during pregnancy there is this awful gray area where we cannot answer the question, is this a human being, with any yes or no answer. And then, given that understanding, you can make a decision, a conscious decision, knowing that the decision has to necessarily be arbitrary, to just take a point during the pregnancy and declare that by law abortion, for example, would not be legal after that point. That is a pragmatic approach that allows for progress to be made, even though it acknowledges the necessary problems that will come with this approach, because there is no clear point during a pregnancy in which the fetus becomes a human being. So, what does that tell us about the nature of debate? The nature of debate a debate can only be successful if the participants in the debate or the argument understand what the other person is talking about. But all the same, we need to realize that we can never have a complete understanding, a definition that completely covers the subject matter without any room for ambiguity, which would allow us to, basically using logic, reach absolute conclusions. We accept that, again, there is a core of understanding that is intuitive and easy to follow, and that we can take forward whilst acknowledging that there is this borderline, this fuzziness that we cannot completely ignore, but all the same we cannot allow it to stifle the discussion. Entering into a discussion demanding definitions, absolute definitions for the subject matter, is basically nothing other than a tactic designed to destroy progress in a discussion. It is a tactic designed to sabotage a discussion, and it is a clear case of despicable intellectual dishonesty, and that is how it should be treated.